Grip socks are great, and now they're even better with Pure Grip Socks Pro. Better fit, moisture wicking, amazing comfort, and all the extra grip you need. Choose from 10 different colors for just $16.99 a pair at puregripsocks.com.
Stop wasting your money on expensive football boots. Now, this is a topic where everyone has their own opinion, and feel free to leave your opinion along with a justification for said opinion down in the comment section, because I'm always curious and there really isn't a right or wrong answer to this. However, I do want to share some thoughts and opinions of my own as to whether or not expensive football boots are legitimately worth it. As an example, I have two pairs of Nike Mercurial Superflies, both the Superfly 8. However, in blue, I have the Elite model that retails for $275. This is the top of the line option. And then I have the Academy tier model, which retails for $90, one of the lower tier options, with obviously a gigantic difference in price between the two. And for a second, forget about technology, forget about marketing, forget about all of the features of this top-end Superfly Elite that you won't get in the Academy model objectively, especially when you're talking about the overall fit of the football boots. While that will vary a lot from person to person depending on the shape of your feet, this is an overall better product. However, and this is where things get really tricky, because despite this being objectively the better pair of football boots that will outperform the cheaper variation, they will not make you perform better as a footballer. If you are good, you are going to be just as good in the cheap pair as you will in the expensive pair. At least theoretically. Because as it is right now, these are both inanimate objects until they're placed on somebody's feet, and then it's up to that person to determine how well they're going to be capable of performing. My point in all this being, do you need expensive football boots to perform well? Absolutely not. But will expensive football boots typically perform better? Yes. Will that translate into actual better performance? Well, no. And I realize that doesn't make a lot of sense. Let me explain. First and foremost, whether you're going for cheap or expensive football boots, you need them to fit properly and feel comfortable on your feet. So getting them in the right size is critical. Getting a model that works with the shape of your foot type, because you have to keep in mind that these football boots are designed to fit most people. However, not every football boot will fit you perfectly, or at least the way that you're hoping that it would fit. So you need to find one that is more or less ideal for your foot type. Sometimes that means settling for a pair that isn't necessarily what you wanted for yourself. And then of course, you need to make sure that they feel comfortable, even if the sizing is right, and even if they fit your feet well. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be comfortable, because comfort at the end of the day is very much a personal preference thing. So you have to decide for yourself how good or bad they feel on your feet once they're on your feet. And this is where you can really end the debate on cheap versus expensive, because you don't need to spend a lot of money on football boots to achieve a good fit and a comfortable feel. From there, I think the justification on spending more money on a pair of football boots is totally down to your own personal mentality as to how important they actually are and how much of a role they're going to play on the mental side of your ability to perform. At the end of the day, football boots are a tool that serve a purpose. The only reason why we're wearing them is so you can have traction on whatever surface you're using them on. Of course, you want them to be comfortable, stable, and have a nice touch on the ball, but all of that is secondary to the basic feature, the basic function of a football boot being the fact that you don't want to be slipping around out there. So if all you care about is the functionality of a pair of football boots, then by all means, save the money, find a cheap pair that you like the fit and feel of, and be done with it. And then there's the other side of the argument where, like I mentioned earlier, I think this top-end Superfly is better in every single way when compared to this cheaper model. It fits better. It's certainly more premium. I think it is objectively the better performing product, and certainly the one that I would choose to wear given the choice between these two. I think part of the justification comes in the mental side of knowing that you have a product that is to a standard that is much higher than what is otherwise available to you at a lower price tag. If that's something that you can justify, then by all means, I think it's worth spending the money. And look, this is a sport that we all love. we train, we play. This is something that we spend a lot of time doing. And if you're spending a lot of time doing something, I don't think it's out of the question or unreasonable to spend a little bit of money on, let's call it a luxury item that you're going to use and enjoy, and it's just going to make your experience overall that much better if it's something that you value as a part of the overall experience. And there's also the mental side of it. There is something that is confidence inspiring about wearing the same football boots as your favorite players. When I was a kid, wearing the same boots as Wayne Rooney and Fernando Torres is something that really meant a lot to me. So having a pair of high-end T90 Laser 2s is something that I look back on and think to myself, wow, maybe that did give me that little bit of an edge in terms of, at the very least, trying harder than I otherwise would if I weren't wearing those exact football boots. And now we're getting into the sports psychology side of things, but I think there's something to be said about mentality and motivation, and there's something that is borderline inspiring of getting a pair of football boots that you're proud of. They are going to encourage you to practice more. Who doesn't get a brand new pair of football boots and isn't super excited to wear them? If that means spending a little bit more money to have that confidence boost, to have that motivational boost, I don't personally see anything wrong with that. And just to quickly touch on the topic of whether or not expensive football boots are worth it or necessary for kids that are still growing, where they're gonna need a new pair of football boots likely every season, I think that's more of a decision that's on the family member and or parents that is purchasing those football boots for said child. Do they necessarily need high-end gear? No, but if that gives you that little bit of mental edge as a parent, thinking that your child's gonna have better quality equipment, if you spend more money, you are typically getting a better product. Again, whether or not that translates into better overall performance on the pitch, I would argue no, but maybe it helps them a little bit. So I guess to conclude my thoughts on this topic, it's more of a mental thing than anything. Confidence and motivation are the biggest aspects of any sport, let alone just the game of football. And if having an expensive pair of football boots is going to boost your confidence and make you more motivated to train and just in general play better, then I absolutely think an expensive pair of football boots is worth it. Whereas if you just view football boots as a tool and nothing else, then it's probably not worth it for you to spend more money. Just settle for a cheaper pair that of course fit well and feel comfortable, and you'll perform to the best of your abilities. There's no doubt in my mind that there are performance gains to be had in terms of what the final product is between expensive and cheap football boots. However, those performance differences aren't significant enough to truly result in an advantage that isn't just down to the player wearing the boots. If you're a good player, you're gonna be good in cheap boots, you're gonna be good in expensive boots. Again, I think it's the mental side of things that you really need to consider when deciding how much money you're going to spend on your next boot.